Welcome to my channel, Old Valuable Coins. Did you know a simple Washington quarter in your pocket could be worth thousands of dollars? Some rare Washington quarter dollar coins, like the 1932D and 1932S, are among the most valuable U.S. quarters ever made, with low mintages and high collector demand. Certain silver Washington quarters with mint errors, doubled dies, or pristine uncirculated condition can sell for hundreds or even tens of thousands at auction. Even worn-looking quarters can hide incredible value if the date, mint mark, and strike are right. Before you spend any quarter, check it closely, because one rare Washington quarter could turn everyday change into serious money. Coin number one, if you have ever wondered why the 1965 Washington quarter is so special, or why collectors continue searching through pocket change for this coin, stay with me because today we are uncovering everything you need to know about the 1965 quarter dollar from the United States. The year 1965 marked a turning point in American coinage. For a decade before this year, Washington quarters were made from 90% silver, a precious metal that gave these coins both intrinsic and collectible value. However, rising silver prices in the early 1960s caused widespread hoarding of coins, leading to severe coin shortages across the country. In response, the United States government made a historic decision that changed American money forever. The 1965 Washington quarter became the first regular-issue quarter to be struck without silver, replacing it with a copper-nickel-clad composition. This change instantly separated the 1965 quarter from all earlier Washington quarters. Instead of silver, the coin was made with a pure copper core sandwiched between two layers of copper-nickel alloy. This new composition dramatically reduced production costs and allowed the mint to produce quarters in massive quantities to meet public demand. As a result, more than 1 billion Washington quarters were minted in 1965, making it one of the highest minted quarters in U.S. history. Despite this extremely high mintage, the 1965 Washington quarter remains one of the most talked-about coins among collectors, historians, and everyday coin hunters. One reason is its role as the bridge between silver coinage and modern clad coinage. This coin represents the exact moment when American pocket change lost its precious metal content, marking the end of an era that dated back to the earliest days of the United States Mint. The obverse of the 1965 Washington quarter features a familiar left-facing portrait of George Washington, originally designed by John Flanagan. This design first appeared in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Washington's birth. On the front of the coin, you'll see the word Liberty at the top, the phrase "In God We Trust" to the left of Washington's portrait, and the date 1965 at the bottom. While the design itself did not change in 1965, the metal beneath the surface did, and that change is what makes this coin historically significant. Turning to the reverse, the 1965 quarter displays a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows in its talons, with olive branches beneath. The inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum appear around the eagle, along with the denomination quarter dollar. This classic reverse design had been used since 1932 and will continue until 1998, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. One unique detail about the 1965 Washington quarter is the absence of a mint mark. Prior to 1965, coins were struck with mint marks such as D for Denver or S for San Francisco. However, to discourage coin hoarding during the transition away from silver, the mint temporarily removed mint marks from coins dated 1965, 1966, and 1967. This means every 1965 quarter looks the same regardless of where it was produced, adding an interesting layer to its story. Another fascinating aspect of the 1965 Washington quarter involves transitional errors. Because the mint was switching from silver to clad coinage, a very small number of 1,965 quarters were accidentally struck on leftover silver planches. These rare transitional error coins are among the most valuable modern U.S. quarters in existence. A genuine 1965 silver quarter is extremely rare and can be worth thousands of dollars, making it one of the ultimate finds for collectors. Even among regular clad 1,965 quarters, collectors look closely for mint errors and unusual varieties. Errors such as off-center strikes, double strikes, broad strikes, clipped planches, and die cracks can significantly increase a coin's value. Some 1965 quarters also show doubling in the lettering or date, which can make them more desirable depending on strength and clarity. Condition plays an important role in determining the value of a 1965 Washington quarter. Because these coins were produced in massive numbers and circulated heavily, finding one in exceptionally well-preserved condition is more difficult than many people realize. Coins that retain strong detail, sharp lettering, and original luster are far more appealing to collectors than heavily worn examples. Another factor that collectors pay attention to is strike quality. Some 1965 quarters were weakly struck, particularly in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. A sharply struck example with full details can stand out even among high-grade coins. This is one reason collectors continue searching rolls of quarters, hoping to uncover a standout example. The historical timing of the 1965 Washington quarter also adds to its appeal. This coin was minted during a period of major cultural and economic change in the United States. The mid-1960s were marked by civil rights movements, the space race, and major shifts in American society. Holding a 1965 quarter is like holding a small piece of that transformative era. Many people assume that because a 1965 quarter contains no silver, it has no collectible value. That assumption is incorrect. While most circulated examples are worth face value, uncirculated coins, error coins, and rare transitional pieces can carry strong premiums. Collectors often focus on finding the best possible examples rather than quantity, especially since so many were produced. Another interesting detail about the 1965 Washington quarter is the edge. Unlike silver quarters, which have a solid silver edge, clad quarters reveal a visible copper stripe along the edge. This is one of the easiest ways to distinguish a silver quarter from a clad one. Checking the edge is often the first step collectors take when examining quarters from the 1960s. The popularity of the Washington Quarter series has remained strong for decades. Even after the introduction of the State Quarters program in 1999, collectors continue to study earlier Washington quarters, including key transitional years like 1965. This coin stands as a symbol of change, practicality, and adaptation in American coinage. For new collectors, the 1965 Washington Quarter is an excellent educational coin. It teaches the importance of composition, historical context, and careful examination. It also reminds collectors that value is not always about silver content alone, but about rarity, condition, and historical significance. Coin roll hunters often target 1,965 quarters in hopes of finding errors or unusually well-preserved examples. While rare silver strikes are extremely unlikely, they are not impossible, which keeps the excitement alive. Every time a 1965 quarter is pulled from circulation, there's a story behind it, from a mint floor to the hands it passed through over the decades. The 1965 Washington quarter may not shine with silver, but it shines with history. It represents a bold decision by the United States Mint that shaped the future of American money. From its massive production numbers to its role in ending silver circulation, this coin has earned its place in numismatic history. Coin number 2, the Washington Quarter series, began in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and by the time 1966 arrived, the coin had already become one of the most recognizable pieces of American currency. However, the 1966 Washington Quarter stands apart from most others because it was struck during one of the most dramatic transitions in U.S. coinage history. This was the era when silver was officially removed from circulating quarters, marking the end of an age and the beginning of modern clad coinage. Prior to 1965, Washington quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper, but rising silver prices forced the United States Mint to change the composition of its coins. As a result, the 1966 Washington Quarter was produced using a copper-nickel clad composition, consisting of an outer layer of copper and nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This change dramatically altered the look, weight, and feel of the coin, and it also changed how collectors evaluate and value quarters from this period. One of the most unique aspects of the 1966 Washington Quarter is that it does not feature a mint mark. During the years 1965, 1966, and 1967, the U.S. Mint intentionally removed mint marks from all coins to discourage hoarding and speculation. As a result, every 1966 quarter was struck without a mint mark, even though production took place at multiple facilities. This detail alone makes the 1966 quarter instantly recognizable to collectors and adds an interesting layer of mystery to its origin. The obverse of the 1966 Washington quarter features the familiar left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. Washington's strong profile, tied hair, and dignified expression symbolize leadership and stability during a time of economic and social change in the United States. The word liberty appears at the top, while in God we trust is positioned to the left of Washington's neck, and the date 1966 is clearly shown at the bottom of the coin. On the reverse, the coin displays a powerful, bold eagle with outstretched wings, perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness to defend the nation. Olive branches below the eagle represent peace, while the inscriptions United States of America and quarter dollar surround the design. Even though the design remained unchanged from earlier silver quarters, the metal content beneath the surface tells a very different story. The standard 1966 Washington quarter weighs 5.67 grams and has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. If you examine the edge of the coin, you will notice a visible copper stripe, which instantly distinguishes it from earlier silver quarters that have a solid silver edge. This copper edge is one of the quickest ways to identify whether a quarter is silver or clad, and it plays a major role in collector interest. While most 1966 quarters were struck for circulation, there's another extremely important category that collectors need to know about, and that is the special mint set issue. In 1966, the U.S. Mint did not produce traditional proof coins for collectors. Instead, they released special mint sets, often referred to as SMS coins. These quarters were struck with higher quality dies and better preparation than regular circulation coins, giving them sharper details and a smoother, more refined surface. Special mint set 1966 Washington quarters are significantly rarer than circulation strikes and can be very valuable, especially in high-quality condition. These coins often display a semi-proof-like appearance, with stronger strikes and fewer contact marks. Some examples even show cameo contrast, where the design appears frosted against a mirrored background, making them highly desirable among collectors. When it comes to value, most circulated 1966 Washington quarters are worth face value or slightly above, depending on condition. However, uncirculated examples with strong luster and minimal wear can command higher prices. Coins that have never been circulated and retain their original mint shine are far more collectible than worn examples that spent years in everyday use. Special mint set quarters from 1966 can be worth significantly more, particularly if they are well preserved. High-quality SMS examples can sell for tens, hundreds, or even thousands of dollars, depending on strike quality, surface preservation, and eye appeal. Rare varieties, deep cameo finishes, or exceptionally sharp strikes are where serious collectors focus their attention. Another important factor that affects the value of a 1966 Washington quarter is the presence of errors and varieties. Error coins are among the most exciting finds in modern coin collecting, and 1966 quarters are no exception. Some known errors include off-center strikes, double strikes, clip planches, and die cracks. These errors occurred during the minting process and escaped quality control, making them highly collectible today. One of the most sought-after errors is a double die variety, where elements of the design appear doubled due to a misalignment during die creation. Doubling can sometimes be seen on the date, lettering, or Washington's profile. While true double dies are rare, they can significantly increase the value of a 1966 quarter if properly identified. Collectors should also look for strike quality when evaluating a 1966 Washington quarter. Because the U.S. Mint was under intense pressure to produce large quantities of coins during this period, many coins were weakly struck. A strong strike with full details on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers is far less common and much more desirable. The historical significance of the 1966 Washington quarter cannot be overstated. This coin represents a turning point in American coinage, marking the full transition away from precious metal circulation coins. It reflects economic pressures, public response to inflation, and the government's effort to stabilize the currency system during a challenging era. For collectors today, the 1966 Washington quarter offers multiple layers of interest. It is affordable for beginners, yet it also provides rare and valuable opportunities for advanced collectors who focus on special mint sets, errors, and high-grade examples. This balance makes it one of the most popular modern quarters to collect and study. If you are searching through pocket change, coin rolls, or old collections, always take a closer look at any 1966 quarter you find. Check the edge for copper, examine the surfaces for unusual finishes, and look carefully at the detail for signs of doubling or striking errors. Even a coin that appears ordinary at first glance could turn out to be something special. The 1966 Washington quarter is more than just a 25-cent piece. It is a symbol of change, innovation, and adaptation in U.S. history. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone just beginning to explore the world of coin collecting, this coin offers an excellent opportunity to learn, discover, and possibly uncover hidden value. As interest in modern coinage continues to grow, coins like the 1966 Washington quarter are gaining renewed attention. Collectors around the world are realizing that history does not end with silver, and that clad coins can be just as fascinating, valuable, and rewarding to collect. Coin number 3, the Washington quarter design itself is iconic and deeply rooted in American history. First introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the quarter features a dignified portrait of the first president of the United States on the obverse. By 1967, this familiar design had already become a symbol of American currency, trust, and stability. The obverse of the 1967 quarter shows George Washington facing left, with strong yet elegant facial details that reflect classic American coin artistry. The inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appear prominently, reinforcing the patriotic themes that define U.S. coinage. The reverse of the 1967 Washington quarter features a powerful image of bald eagle with wings spread, clutching arrows and olive branches. This design symbolizes strength, readiness, and peace, core values of the United States. Above the eagle is the phrase United States of America, while the denomination quarter dollar is displayed clearly below. Even though the design remained unchanged from earlier years, the story behind the 1967 issue makes it unique. One of the most important things to understand about the 1967 Washington quarter is its composition. Prior to 1965, Washington quarters were made of 90% silver, which gave them intrinsic precious metal value. However, rising silver prices in the early 1960s caused people to hoard silver coins, leading to a nationwide coin shortage. To address this issue, the U.S. government made a historic decision to remove silver from circulating quarters. As a result, the 1967 Washington quarter was struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition, consisting of an outer layer of copper-nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This change forever altered American coinage and marked the end of the silver era for quarters. The year 1967 falls within a very special period in U.S. mint history. From 1965 through 1967, mint marks were intentionally removed from all coins. This was done to discourage coin collecting and hoarding, as officials believed collectors were contributing to the shortage. Because of this policy, the 1967 Washington quarter has no mint mark, regardless of where it was produced. These coins were struck at multiple U.S. mint facilities, but none carry identifying marks, making them unique compared to earlier and later issues. Another interesting aspect of the 1967 Washington quarter is the sheer number of coins produced. Hundreds of millions were minted to meet public demand, which is why the coin remains relatively common today. However, common does not mean unimportant. Collectors value this coin as part of a complete Washington quarter set, and as a historical artifact from a time of major economic transition. While circulated examples are easy to find, coins that have survived in exceptionally well-preserved condition are far less common and can be surprisingly desirable. Condition plays a major role in the value of a 1967 Washington quarter. Coins that have spent decades in circulation often show wear on Washington's hair, the eagle's feathers, and the high points of the design. Scratches, dull surfaces, and loss of detail are typical for circulated pieces. On the other hand, coins that were saved early or stored carefully can still display strong detail, sharp rims, and original luster. These higher quality examples are especially appealing to collectors who focus on appeal and originality. In addition to condition, strike quality is another important factor. Some 1967 quarters were struck more sharply than others, and collectors often look for pieces with clear details in Washington's hair and the eagle's chest feathers. Coins with strong strikes and clean surfaces stand out, even among large quantities of similar pieces. This makes careful examination essential for anyone searching through rolls or collections. The 1967 Washington quarter is also known for certain minting variations and errors, which add excitement for collectors. Errors such as double details, off-center strikes, clip planches, and die cracks can significantly increase interest and value. These errors occurred during the high-speed minting process used to produce the massive quantities required at the time. Finding a genuine error coin from 1967 can be an exciting discovery and a highlight of any collection. Although the 1967 quarter does not contain silver, it still holds historical and educational value. It represents a moment when American coinage adapted to economic realities and modern manufacturing needs. For new collectors, this coin is an affordable and accessible way to explore U.S. numismatic history. For experienced collectors, it serves as an essential part of a complete Washington quarter timeline. Many people wonder whether the 1967 Washington quarter is worth saving. The answer depends on what you are looking for. While most circulated examples are worth face value, coins in excellent condition or those with unique characteristics can be worth significantly more. Over time, interest in mid-20th century coins continues to grow, especially as fewer high-quality examples remain available. Another reason the 1967 Washington quarter is so popular is its availability in everyday change. This makes it a favorite among coin roll hunters and beginner collectors. Searching through rolls of quarters can still yield nice examples, and the thrill of finding a well-preserved coin or unusual variety keeps many collectors engaged. This accessibility helps keep the hobby alive and encourages new generations to learn about coins. From an educational standpoint, the 1967 Washington quarter is an excellent teaching tool. It demonstrates how economic pressures influence currency design and composition. It also shows how government policies, such as removing mint marks, can impact collecting habits and market behavior. Studying this coin helps collectors understand broader trends in U.S. monetary history. The legacy of the Washington quarter design continued long after 1967. Although the reverse design changed temporarily during the State Quarters program and other commemorative series, the portrait of George Washington remains one of the most enduring images in American coinage. The 1967 issue stands as a bridge between the classic silver era and the modern clad coinage we use today. Collectors around the world continue to seek out Washington quarters, and the 1967 coin holds a special place within that series. Whether you are assembling a year-by-year collection, searching for high-quality examples, or simply learning about U.S. coins, this quarter offers depth, history, and lasting appeal. In the end, the 1967 Washington quarter dollar coin from the United States is more than just spare change. It is a symbol of transition, resilience, and adaptation. It tells the story of a nation responding to economic challenges while maintaining the familiar designs that people trusted. For collectors, historians, and everyday enthusiasts, this coin remains a meaningful piece of America's numismatic heritage, and its story continues to be told every time one is discovered, examined, and appreciated. Coin number 4, and we will explore the Washington quarter, was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. By 1972, the coin had already become one of the most recognized and trusted pieces of American currency. The design used in 1972 is part of the long-running Washington quarter series that lasted until 1998, making it a classic example of U.S. coinage before the State Quarters program began. The 1972 Washington quarter features a familiar left-facing portrait of George Washington on the obverse. This portrait was designed by sculptor John Flanagan and is based on a bust of Washington created by Jean-Antoine Houdon. Around Washington's portrait, you'll find the word Liberty at the top, the national motto "In God We Trust" to the left, and the date 1972 position at the bottom. These details are important for collectors, especially when identifying varieties and mint differences. On the reverse side of the 1972 Washington quarter, you'll see a powerful image of a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings. The eagle is perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and defense, while olive branches beneath represent peace. Above the eagle is the phrase United States of America, and below it is a denomination quarter dollar. This reverse design was used for decades and is instantly recognizable to anyone familiar with U.S. coins. The Washington quarter from 1972 were produced at multiple mints, and identifying the mint mark is an important step in understanding your coin. Coins struck in Philadelphia do not carry a mint mark. Coins minted in Denver feature a small D mint mark, while those produced in San Francisco carry an S mint mark. Each mint produced coins in different quantities, which can influence rarity and collector demand. In 1972, the United States Mint produced hundreds of millions of Washington quarters, making most examples relatively common today. These coins were struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition, which consists of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This change in composition began in 1965, replacing the earlier silver quarters that are highly prized by collectors. Although most 1972 Washington quarters are considered common, that does not mean they are without value. Coins that have remained in excellent condition over the decades can still command a premium. Uncirculated examples with strong details, original luster, and minimal wear are especially desirable. Even small differences in condition can significantly affect a coin's market value. One of the most exciting aspects of collecting the 1972 Washington quarter is the possibility of finding error coins. Error coins are mistakes made during the minting process, and they can dramatically increase a coin's value. Common errors to look for include double die errors, off-center strikes, clip planches, and misaligned dies. A double die error may show noticeable doubling on the date, lettering, or Washington's profile, making it a favorite among collectors. Another interesting variety involves weak or missing details caused by die wear or grease-filled dies. These errors can result in faded letters or partial designs, creating unique coins that stand out from standard issues. While minor errors may add only modest value, dramatic errors can be worth significantly more. Proof versions of the 1972 Washington quarter were also produced, primarily at the San Francisco Mint. Proof coins are specially made with sharper details and mirror-like surfaces. These coins were not intended for circulation and were sold directly to collectors. Proof examples from 1972 are typically well preserved and are popular among collectors building complete proof sets. The historical context of the 1972 Washington quarter also adds to its appeal. The early 1970s were a time of major social and economic change in the United States. Inflation, technological growth, and cultural shifts were reshaping the country, and coins from this era serve as small but powerful reminders of that history. Holding a 1972 quarter is like holding a piece of everyday American life from more than 50 years ago. Collectors often choose to save 1972 Washington quarters as part of data and mint collections. Completing a full set of Washington quarters from this era can be a rewarding challenge, especially when searching for coins in higher condition or with interesting mint errors. Because these coins are still relatively accessible, they are a great entry point for new collectors. If you're searching through your pocket change, old jars, or inherited coin collections, always take a closer look at any 1,972 quarters you find. Check the mint mark, inspect the condition, and look carefully for unusual features or errors. Even though most examples are common, the thrill of discovering something special never gets old in coin collecting. The Washington $quarter coin from 1972 may not always make headlines like rare silver coins, but it remains an important and collectible piece of U.S. history. Its classic design, wide availability, and potential for interesting errors make it a favorite among collectors around the world.